So Relli, Terrell Efron is dropping one of two cases that he has open against ASAP Rocky, Rakim Myers, however we want to refer to him for the sake of this stream. We're going to get into it. And this is part of the what in the series, but I think I actually have an explanation as to why we're getting one dropped and not the other. But let's get into this news here. It's not officially on the docket, but the report is coming through Billboard. Rachel Scharf has done great reporting on these civil actions, really for like over a year now. So this news is coming from a lawyer for Efron speaking to Billboard. It's not on the docket yet, but let's get into it. So, or let's explain here the two cases, right? So you guys remember we've talked about it. We have a personal injury case for the assault and battery, where it's only Rakim Myers as the defendant. And this is the case that Billboard's reporting that, according to an attorney for Relli plans to drop. There's also a second action where ASAP Rocky's attorney, Joe Tacopina, you guys may remember very well from if you watch the criminal trial, I would hope, or from this GIF. You might see me play that quite often on this stream. This case he plans to continue to pursue, and we're going to talk about why. But let's get into the story here from Rachel. So, ASAP Relli, we're still using ASAP Relli, drops ASAP Rocky shooting lawsuit. The ordeal has been a nightmare. The former ASAP mob collaborator, and this is tiny, let's make it bigger. The former ASAP mob collaborators had been set to square off at a civil trial in early 2026, a year after Rocky was criminally acquitted for shooting Relli. So, very familiar. I think, is that the same picture I just used for the thumbnail? No, I think I used the one where he's like motioning how he shot downward. So let's see. ASAP Relli has abandoned plans to retread his shooting claims against ASAP Rocky at a second trial early next year, telling Billboard through a lawyer that he's instead, quote, focusing on rebuilding his life. I think that's a good decision. Rakim Mayers was acquitted at a criminal trial this past February of shooting Relli, Terrell Efron, his childhood friend and one-time ASAP mob collaborator, in 2021. Remember, that case took forever to get to trial. And this action was stayed for like just as long. Relli brought an assault lawsuit in 2022. I almost said 2002. It's not that long ago. Seeking financial damages from the star rapper over the same alleged incident. The civil case was scheduled to go to trial in January, with Relli facing a lower burden of proof than the one prosecutors failed to meet. Prosecutor Lewin in their criminal case against Rocky. But an attorney for Relli, Aaron Morris, tells Billboard on Tuesday. So this is today. And sorry, guys. Shout out to the vets in the chat. Shout out to the veterans. Happy Veterans Day. I hope everybody is getting time to celebrate, relax. If you're a veteran, hope you got treated well today. Reading Tuesday, November 11th just reminded me. So sorry I'm late on that. But we're finding out today, Tuesday, that his client has decided to drop the assault claims. So we're not fighting that battle anymore. Now, this is going to be interesting. I have a lot of thoughts. We have a quote. At this point, he's ready to simply move on from the shooting, Aaron Morris said. The ordeal has been a nightmare for him, and the statements calling him a liar and worse effectively eliminated his chances of a career in the industry. Morris said his team will file court papers officially dismissing the assault lawsuit later this week. So again, it's not on the docket, but we're getting this from his attorney. And now this, Relli is still pursuing a separate defamation lawsuit. So we're not dropping the issue with Joe Tacopina speaking to TMZ and essentially calling Relli a liar and saying it was a hoax against both Rocky and his lawyer, Joe Tacopina, over press interviews where they called the shooting claims extortion and a get-rich-quick scheme. Relli alleges these statements harmed his reputation and career as an artist manager. So we have another quote here from attorney Aaron Morris. He's going to litigate the defamation action because of the damages it caused. But as to the shooting, he's thankful he wasn't hurt worse. So we're still maintaining He was shot, the bullet grazed his finger, and he was hurt. We're wording this as we're grateful, we're thankful he wasn't hurt worse, and is focusing on rebuilding his life. Rocky's reps did not immediately return a request for comment. And Joe Tacopina, I saw an update, you guys, on the Wendy Williams conservator case. So Joe Tacopina is advocating, he's representing Wendy Williams. And I saw that there was some motion over there where she went through a bunch of neurological exams and she doesn't have the advanced frontal dementia that I guess was the basis the court was using to keep her under conservatorship. So Joe Tacopina is a busy guy out here. But let's see, you guys, the way this is worded, it says Rocky and Relli were involved in a now infamous altercation near a Hollywood. How many times did we watch that? Well, it was more than one video, but the compilation of that altercation from like the parking garage area to the parking lot. How many times did we run through that footage? Now infamous altercation near a Hollywood hotel in November of 2021. Really, that's 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Relli alleges still that Rocky fired a handgun at him twice during the argument, while the rapper maintains it was a prop gun filled with blanks. Prosecutors charged Rocky with 2 felony assault counts in 2022. The Grammy-nominated Harlem rapper rejected a plea offer from prosecutors and went to trial. And you guys remember, that was a very interesting plea offer. It was like 18 months or something. Like nothing. It was a very small fraction of what he would have been facing. And the plea deal was like the red flag to me, like, wait, I thought they had this clear-cut video, like Rocky's in the mud, it's over for him, like there's no way he's going to be able to defend this. And then the plea offer was like, why would they offer that? So got into that trial and you guys know how it played down. So Rocky, yeah, he went to trial. He took it to trial. He risked a maximum of 24 years in prison if convicted, and his bet ultimately paid off. Fully acquitted on both counts. So that is our update here again through Billboard, through Rachel Scharf, who's done great reporting. She's in and out of a lot of Los Angeles courtrooms doing great coverage. Let me get her Twitter because sometimes she posts right on Twitter without like before stuff gets into Billboard. So she's not very, very active on Twitter, but when she is, it's always an update on some case that it's interesting and nobody else seems to have the updates. So Rachel Scharf on X. There's that in the chat for you guys, and the Billboard link is linked in the description. So you guys, these dockets, right? We have this personal injury. This is the one that's getting dropped. This is the one that's continuing, the defamation case with Tacopina. How are you going to drop the underlying cause? This is my question of the day for you guys. How are you going to drop the action that is really the heart of the claim, right? So this action here is, you shot at me, I was injured, you caused me distress. How are you going to drop that? And then maintain that you were defamed by somebody saying those claims weren't true. And we're going to get into why I think that strategy attorneys, there's different judges assigned to each of these cases. And I think that's playing a big role here because we're going to review some of the recent decisions in both cases. But isn't it weird to say, I'm going to pursue the defamation, but I'm abandoning the case that's the underlying incident that gave rise to what I'm claiming is defamatory statements? How do you reconcile that? How do you reconcile that? And we're going to get into the little differences, the quick updates. Shout out to everyone that was here. Biff Franz, also known as Almond Brown, was in the chat bright and early here with the Danny DeVito meme, the picture. Good to see you. Angelica's in the building. Curious Liv, we got Shay, we got Jimmy, we got Choco Senpai. Destined to be celebrating that she got a notification this time. Black Butterfly, always good to see you when you can pop in. I love reading these comments. Michelle, did you guys just run in here like, oh gosh, oh no, Relli, what are you doing? Michelle came in saying, oh my God, he can't be serious. He is. This is an attorney speaking to Billboard. He's presumably there's some billable hours involved with the statement to Billboard. It's serious. Tiffany, good to see you. We got Slim and Bones, aka Raynette. Good to see you. We've got Miss One here for a live. Glad to have you, especially on a Relli Rocky discussion live. Mary W, hey, hey. But good to see everybody. Again, guys, there's nothing that I love to see more than dramatic cases, civil litigation. This is not the football player. So ASAP Rocky, he's an artist. It's not just limited to his music anymore. I think he's also well established in like the fashion side of the entertainment world. He's not married, but he's in a relationship, a serious relationship with Rihanna. They have children together. So if that doesn't ring a bell, mentioning Rihanna, I think that's the best way I can help you figure out who we're talking about. That's ASAP Rocky. That's who Relli accused of attempting to shoot him. Rocky won the criminal proceedings. Relli is now dropping one of the two civil proceedings that he initiated against Rocky, and one of them, Takapina, which is still going. So Laundered Amber got here just in time. Tally Pitlove, hey, good to see you. 420 Palm. Amisha McNeil says, hey, chat. Good to have you in here, Amisha. And Jay Money, thank you so much for being a member for 2 months. Says, 2 months of fun. Glad to be here. Glad to be here. We're going to have to start. Anyone that has an S in their name, you got to use the $ for this chat. We got to ASAP mob it. Jay Money has money in his name. It counts. And there we go. I was going to say SteffJK is already with the J Money sign there. Big thank you, J Money. We've got Jeremy Rose. Let's see. Hey, yeah. Are you saying hey? Or are you talking about the Outcast song? Aaron, good to see you. Aaron, highly respected attorney, does a lot of advocacy work in the post-conviction space. So when you see Aaron in the building, always tune into what she has to say. She offers such incredible information. Let's see. I've never addressed this out loud, and I haven't seen Jason. I hope he's doing well, but he was removed as a moderator here for banning several users on the low for no reason. Users that you guys all know and love when you come hang out in this space and say hey to. And I'm not sure what that was about, but that's why, at least on this channel, I didn't ban him, but I removed his wrench, and I haven't seen him here since. So, but do wish him well. I just didn't want mods to be doing that to anybody else undeservedly. Amy E, thank you for the reminder here to click that like button. Keith hanging out from Chicago, showing the love. Thank you, Keith. We've got Drea's been busy. Drea took a full-time job baking, but I haven't seen her in a little bit. So Miss Drea, last I heard she was swamped, holding it down with work. Amy E dropping 5 gifts in the chat. You guys, if you got a gift, please say thank you to Amy E. Amy E holding it down, turning the chat green. Thank you so much, Amy. And thanks for hanging out. I feel like, Amy, you've had a full day. You had your live premiere. I'm sure you were holding it down for Classy's stream, his daily show. And then you're coming and hanging out right now. It's like 8 p.m. You're East Coast too. So it's 8 p.m. You've been going at this YouTube stuff all day. So big appreciation for Amy Love. Love Amy E. And yeah, Steph. So that was an awkward update. But just so you guys know. I don't like to see any fighting in the community, and I was pretty surprised to see some of the names that were banned, and I didn't know where it was coming from, and then got some screenshots from others of the bans happening in real time. So if you can catch it when it's happening in the chat, YouTube will tell you so-and-so, this user, this moderator took a specific action. But if you don't catch it during the stream or the chat, all you see on the back end is a bunch of names that are like mainstay names in this community that like we all love. And I was like, what is going on? So that was rough. And I really hope nobody took offense to it. Like anyone I spoke with, I didn't like spill any beans on who I thought might have done it because I didn't know. But I do think we got everyone back. So I hope nobody's out there personally offended thinking they were banned for no reason. But that was a time. That was a rough time. Um, and then Leo with the bright, happy, getting back on topic here says, "Love your streams, Kat." Thank you for the super, Leo. We're going to get into it, you guys. So we don't have much to get into. But the nitty gritty of this is with this personal injury, the non defamation case, the one where it's getting dropped, it's just ASAP Rocky as a defendant. The judge over in this case has not been playing lightly. A few weeks ago, we talked about in one of the streams, it was just a quick update that we did. I don't even think I did a standalone video. But the judge said something to Relli to the effect of, "Are you sure you don't want to just cut your losses?" And this was in the lull after Camille Vasquez said, "Look, I want to withdraw as your attorney. I don't want to represent you anymore." She withdrew from both cases, and he was asking the courts for more time to respond to these filings. And this judge in this case was like, "Are you sure?" So Relli wanted to pursue. He said he already lost. I think he gave an amount like 500,000. Like he gave a figure to this judge, and I'm pretty sure it was Billboard that reported on it. And he's like, it was like sunk cost fallacy in my book. That's how I looked at it. I already invested so much money. I just want the chance to find and retain new counsel, and I'm going to need time for them to look at the documents and respond. These deadlines aren't going to cut it. So the judge wasn't happy. The judge was like, "Are you sure?" But then Relli ended up getting new attorneys. Well, in the meantime, over in the defamation, oh, I have the wrong screen up. Sorry, I had the docket up for the defamation case the whole time when I was talking about this one. That was all applicable to this. In the defamation case, which I had on the screen the whole time, there was Jim says, "Really hit me up." Well, there's only one case left, so you'd be going against Tacopina, which we would all watch. I think we'd all be here for that, with love, to both sides. And so over here, the defense, which is Rocky, Tacopina, and Tacopina's law firm, those are the named parties. I think the filing came from Tacopina. He filed a special motion to strike, was trying to say that, hey, because of anti-SLAPP laws, which are very protective in California, we think you should dismiss this, protect our speech. But when the judge went through the arguments and Rocky as an individual enjoined that motion that really was filed through Tacopina, the judge said, anti-SLAPP is great. It would ordinarily protect all of these things, but it doesn't protect the stature. You're dealing with Rocky is high profile. He had a high profile case. And this court finds that speaking to TMZ to influence the public before a trial isn't what anti-SLAPP is meant to protect. And it kind of sucks because the analysis that this court has to make is through the lens of anti-SLAPP. It's not the analysis of, hey, this is a celebrity defendant who it's going to be a high profile public trial. Attorneys, criminal defense attorneys do have a right to speak, defend their clients in public, unless there's a gag order, and they should never be talking about things that, evidence that hasn't been disclosed to the public. They shouldn't be talking about things that aren't a matter of public record, but they can do interviews. But the analysis here when it comes to anti-SLAPP is different, right? And that's the lens that this judge had to look through. So Terrell Efron, that's a favorable ruling for Terrell Efron in the defamation case. Additionally, Terrell Efron gets new attorneys. And in both cases, his California counsel files applications for 3 different New York lawyers for pro hoc vice admission in both of the cases. So 6 admissions, 2 different cases. This judge for the defamation case is like, there you go, you're in. We're going to approve it. We're not even going to hold a hearing. You're good. Well, this case that Relli's dropping, this judge that was like, maybe you should cut your losses, didn't react well to these pro hoc vice motions, and I was surprised to see it. So let's revisit that. This was, what is this, November 5th? Remember the 5th of November? So this was the order from the judge in the assault case, we're going to call it. Order denying, and this was October 30th that it was written, denying pro hoc vice applications. Listen to the language. In this very old case, plaintiff alleges that he was shot by defendant on November 6, 2021. Plaintiff's first attorney, Jamal Toussaint, filed the complaint on August 10th, 2022. Beginning on or about October 26, 2023, plaintiff was represented by a different lawyer, Camille Vasquez. On or about September 10th, 2024, Vasquez apparently changed law firms but continued to represent plaintiff. On February 26, 2025, based on the information provided by counsel, this court set a matter for a short 3 to 5 day trial on January 12, 2026. So this was around the time where they lifted the stay, right? They stayed for the criminal proceedings. Proceedings ended, they conferred, and they said, all right, we're going to reopen this, we're going to get this moving, and we're going to set a tentative trial date for what would have been like 2 months from now. They also said a mandatory settlement conference was set for December 3rd. That's like around the corner at this point. In the meantime, on or about August 5th, plaintiff parted ways with Vasquez and began to represent himself. On September 30th, attorneys Saba and Owens, these are the California attorneys, filed notice of appearance on behalf of plaintiff. A few days later, Saba filed motions to admit 3 New York attorneys to also represent plaintiff pro hoc vice. And what's wild to me is this sounds expensive. This sounds expensive to me. When we first looked at this, that was the first thing that went through my head. You've got 2 counsel here in California and you want 3 more from New York. That sounds pricey. That does not sound like a good time. Maybe they're doing it on contingency, but we heard from Relli that he already invested like 6 figures into this. In support of these in the motions, Saba has filed nearly identical declarations. None of them, however, provide any real information or persuasive argument for that matter as to why plaintiff's 2 Los Angeles attorneys need to be assisted by 3 attorneys from New York. Saba's declarations also contradictorily state that each of the New York attorneys, quote, has been directing all the substantive issues in the case. It is hard for this court to understand how 3 different attorneys, none of whom have been admitted in California, can each be directing a case. Out-of-state attorneys have no presumptive right to appear in California courts, nor does this court rubber stamp pro hoc vice applications, especially ones like these with such minimal and contradictory showings. Finally, plaintiff has cycled through several attorneys, adding 3 more on the eve of the mandatory settlement conference, and the trial is likely to make it difficult and confusing for opposing counsel and the court to be able to focus on the key issues necessary to resolve this case. Accordingly, good cause having been shown, it's ordered that plaintiff's pro hoc vice applications are denied. So, I think the court gives sound reasoning. I think it was laying a heavy hand. It's within discretion, though. But when you put these puzzle pieces together, this just happened on October 30th. And we're hearing today that, Relli's attorney, the California attorneys are telling Billboard, hey, we're going to drop that one where we just took these L's. We can't get the New York attorneys admitted. The judge is already like, you should cut your losses. Let's take the case where we're getting somewhat more favorable rulings rather than doing the work for 2 trials. So to me, maybe that's the strategy. Maybe we are trying to budget. But I still can't reconcile how we don't want to pursue the case that relates to the claims about the actual incident, but we're going to pursue the case alleging an attorney engaged in defamation as an agent for their client, Rakim Mayers, making statements about the veracity of that same claimed incident. So there we go. That's just why I think we're dropping this one and keeping this one going. I think this is a great example of cutting losses. We're keeping this case. We're dropping this one. I think Relli, maybe with some nudging from counsel after talking strategy, agreed, let's cut some losses. So There we go. I think that's our update. I think that's what we've got. What are you guys thinking? Yeah, vague and ambiguous says, "What now? No pro hoc?" It's not every day you see a pro hoc application denied, and usually if it's denied, it'll be like attorney was supposed to disclose something or didn't follow the process. Like I think in Nevada, there's like a two-step process that you have to follow for pro hoc vice admissions. And if you don't do the preliminary application before you file the motion, it just gets like procedurally denied. So I've seen denials on that basis before. Um, but just a straight up like the judge thought about it analytically. I think that's very critical thinking to say, why is this attorney in California saying these three attorneys in New York have been all directing the case, but you guys just all collectively came on as counsel for Relli in September because Camille Vasquez said no more in August. And in early September, Relli was still looking for an attorney. So, how are you representing to this court that three different individuals in another state have been directing this case as if they've had any time to really manage it? So, I thought it was a critical analysis, but still surprising. Freedom Ring, good to see, is his contingency fee. They have to share. So, more attorney means less money per attorney. Yeah, Mary says Relli was trying to act like he was about that money. Oh, and do you remember all of the lines of questioning about the Instagram posts? Not the ones where there might have been the like a firearm. It looked like perhaps in a bag, like a duffel bag or a merce. But the Instagram photos that were just like, "Are you pretending this is your jet?" Look, like just dragging, dragging Relli through like a humiliation ritual. Chaco Senpai says trying to pull punches at this point is crazy work. And we'll see how this plays out. I mean, I don't think it's I don't think it's a reflection of the merits of the defenses that Rocky and Takapina will raise that the anti-slap motion got denied. That would have just been something that could have deaded the case. Um, so I'm still excited to see the lawyering back and forth over on the case that will remain. Happily Angry Lawyer says free Relli or whatever the equivalent of that is here. I don't know if it's free. It seems expensive at this point. Hey, Christine, good to see you. And hey, Tatum, when did you get here? Good to see you. I think I missed you in my hellos. But yeah, this just seems like the saga that never ends. I mean, we're down to one case now. We had three. Well, we had one, then two, then three, then two, and one. That's how this has evolved. That's how this has evolved. And there was one other. It might be right in this thread. Aha. Okay. So also in the case that's getting dropped, the judge awarded sanctions to Rocky in the amount of 4,500 for late responses. Relli wasn't responding in time. So there was that. That was back mid-October. There was a quote during that was funny too. Oh man. Where was the quote? So State Farm, something that was kind of new to me that I learned in the course of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard saga, um, was homeowners insurance, different insurance policies that you wouldn't think they can indemnify their clients for things like defamation. So I'm assuming that that's how State Farm has gotten wrapped up in this. So State Farm had to be present at one of these hearings back on October 14th. And the attorney for State Farm, they're there arguing that they're not obligated to cover Rakim Mayers' legal fees for any liability if he's found to be liable for anything. And then they said this, the attorney for State Farm said, quote, Relli fell off the map after his former lawyers withdrew. So this random lawyer for State Farm who's got to be here for business just tells the court, Relli fell off the map. Where is he? So this case has just had a bunch of moments. Oh my goodness. Aaron says free Relli from being called a liar after he lied with the sad face. Oh my goodness. And Trikisha, I don't know if I said hey to you either. I think I missed you on the way in. So hey to Trikisha. And you're reminding me. So guys, in the description, if you're on replay crew, and I don't have a window open right now, but it's in the description right now. And give me a second to pull it up. Taylor Umbridge, Taylor Gang. You guys, I think a lot of people, if you didn't already know Taylor, met her, came across Taylor Umbridge channel through, or her TikTok. She's really big on TikTok through the YSL trial, but she's covered a ton of other cases since. She's busy in law school right now. So she is walking the walk to become a lawyer, but she took the time to do a post-trial interview with Alicia Andrews' attorneys. So she had Jeremy McLymont and Arian White on her show. I thought the interview for me filled a ton of gaps. So as we navigated the Alicia Andrews trial and we had conversations, there were questions like, for me, why is this judge saying duress over and over? The issue with that being someone relying on duress as a defense is an affirmative defense that's saying, I did the thing, but I have a legal justification for it. Whereas it seemed to me like the defense wanted to say, we're not trying to take an affirmative defense, but we think some information relating to domestic violence in the relationship would go to explain why Alicia Andrews might not ask the questions that you'd expect somebody to ask in a moment, like, why are we sitting in an Airbnb and I'm starving and we can't even go get food if this is supposed to be like a getaway weekend? Why are we here with your homeboys? But, I think it's very relevant to say there's a reason somebody might not ask those questions. And just conversations like that I remember having with you guys in the chat, just pondering and yapping about. The attorneys gave a ton of answers, a ton of answers. So go check it out. And I think you guys like to hear from jurors and attorneys after the trial anyway. So even if you didn't follow Alicia Andrews too closely, it's always cool to hear attorneys reflect on the case that just passed. So Taylor interview. So that's in the chat. And again, it's also in the description of this video for anyone watching after the stream ends. Yeah, Destined to Be Plugging also says it was a great interview. Hey, Thug Free. It's no longer Free Thug, it's Thug Free. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. And Trikisha says she did a great job. It was a nice casual kickback. Unfortunately, I missed when it was live. I was working all weekend, and I came back and I'm like, so I was watching on Replay Crew, but I saw Trikisha in the comments, so that's why you made me think of it. Steph, I'm gonna have to figure out the Christmas thing. What I do for my day job, we're growing the business, so no revenue from day job this whole year. So like literally not a cent. And don't worry about me, guys. I'm very good at saving money from years prior. So I'm personally fine. But as far as the Christmas thing, I'm gonna have to change the way we do it. I don't think I can be as bombastic about it, and I still want it to be fun. So I'm not exactly sure how to do it. But I want to do it. So I gotta get on that, because the time of year I like to do it is around Black Friday. Because guys, helping kids get toys for Christmas, all of the good sales are that Black Friday weekend and now like the weekend after and weekend before. But you can get like 2 or 3 times the amount of toys during that time of year that you can get before or after. So sorry I don't have an answer, but guys, if you want to participate, we did an angel tree shopping last year as a chat. Whatever we do end up doing, just keep your eyes peeled for something like the final week of November. And it'll be a great time. We can wear Christmas hats, we can have fake snow on the screen, and we can do some shopping. Yeah, it's going to be a good time either way. Just know there won't be quite as much fanfare, but last year was incredible. It was really a joy and honor. Like it started, we did all of the angel trees. So I went on my own, but because you guys were so supportive during the YSL trial, I usually just take like a couple angels from the tree that they put up at the shopping mall and put a few gifts in the box. But because of you guys, I cleared the whole tree. I took all of the plates and called the organization, was like, I have a car full. And they're like, what? And then they had a wish list for Amazon. And we had some others that knew of other individuals in need that had wish lists, and you guys just came on and you started buying stuff off the Amazon wish list, and it was just an awesome time, and one of the reasons I love YouTube so much. So, we're gonna do something as best as we can because I love doing it. Yeah, the Amazon Drive. So, yeah, and Thanksgiving meals too, you guys, also a big thing. I think local community, like local grocery stores, it just even they just put the box at the front. Like just drop something in there too. And get creative with it. I like to put I heard once someone say when they donate food, they like to include birthday cake mix and frosting because you don't really think of those things. You think of like canned vegetables, box macaroni. You just that doesn't cross your mind as an essential, but then it's like, what if someone doesn't have a cake to bake for their kid's birthday because they can't afford it? So as soon as I heard that, I love like giving stuff like that into those boxes now. Tatum. Tatum says, my son wants a $229 model plane. I'm telling you, kids are smart. Somehow there are kids out there that will know what the most expensive thing in a toy catalog is, and that's the only toy they want to circle when you ask them what they want for Christmas. They're going to go for that one high dollar item, and you're going to be like, oh no, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. So, oh, that's funny. So Jeremy says he thought when he read the thumbnail that it was Terrell Williams. No, no, no. No, no, no. But now that makes sense. Take It to Trial. Good to see you. Guys, make sure you also check out Take It to Trial. We don't always get to hang out because, it sucks when you do live trial coverage and your peers like the same trials because your schedules will be the exact same. So hold on. But since we're doing this later stream today, this is a bit we're 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, local time here. Let's see. Take It to Trial. Make sure you go and check out Take It to Trial. And good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Getting lots of love in the building here for Take It to Trial. And I don't know why that's reminding me. So when I pulled up YouTube to look for the link for Take It to Trial, it showed me like stuff related to my recent history. And I realized yesterday, do you guys remember the vigilante citizens arrest? It was Georgia. A white woman pursued a driver that was involved in an accident but drove away from the scene. The woman pursued the driver and was trying to get a license plate, turned deadly. The guy she pursued, she shot and killed him. She was put on trial. She was convicted. She was sentenced to life with parole. So she's eligible for parole, I think after like 36 years or something. If you guys remember that, her name was Hannah Payne. And when I went back, the video wasn't there. But just a random one quick. This is from the trial, if you remember, or if you remember seeing the footage. Well, I saw yesterday when checking out the Georgia Supreme Court docket that Brian Steele and Andrew Fleischman will be representing her for appeal. So whenever those oral arguments take place, I'm curious to see what they're going to argue. Two great attorneys, not so sure what the arguments will be, but I'm curious. So if you guys remember this or interested in going back and watching it, Law and Crime has the full trial. We will be looking at those oral arguments. So, but yeah. Other than that, what else is going on in the legal world before we wrap it up here? Anything interesting? Because we talked a little bit about Takapina and Wendy Williams. Because he's busy. He's also got the Fat Joe case. So, oh my God, yeah, I'll wear mine too. So Erin says I can wear my "What Would Brian Do" shirt to the stream. I'll wear mine too. It was a little stiff. Um, like, so you guys know with the Oiskudi, I don't even know how to pronounce anything, but Young Thug's new album, he did a ton of different merch for it. And one of his merch kits was a outlined, like a sketch outline of Brian Steele with the acronym "What Would Brian Do?" So I got one of those. Aaron apparently got one of those. A few people I saw said that they were getting that one. We can wear it for that occasion. We could wear it for the occasion. Okay, cool. So, and Hal, you've been doing a bunch of videos too. So, and you did one yesterday that I didn't catch up with yet. Guys, Happily Angry Lawyer has been doing videos rather than live streams. So if you guys, I know YouTube is funny with notifications for things. And I would imagine maybe if you're the type of person that typically watches live streams, maybe YouTube wouldn't be as inclined to give you a notification when someone uploads a video on demand. So if that's the case, if you didn't realize that um, Happily Angry Lawyer has put out two different videos now about misrepresentations in the Antonio Sledge, I don't know, saga. He's got two videos with that. And then I don't know if you've talked about this specifically, but Jim went and pointed out to the court that not only were there flaws in Mungtung's sentencing that made it a void, invalid sentence, but he also pointed out that Gunna had the "what you shall not commit no crimes" or have no. Was it the double negative for the no guns, possess no guns, or the you shall not commit no crimes, or was it both? Whatever it was, Judge Whittaker has actually gone back and fixed that sentence. So, yeah, I think both. I think it was both too. So, and then link to Jim is in the chat here, you guys. You guys are dropping a lot of suggestions here. Leo Senpei says David coverage if it comes to be. Maybe that is so murky to me. And where I'm going for updates is Laura Conlin. Lauren Conlin, sorry. She does a morning show most days of the week where she talks about several things in the news space. She's also covering a lot of there's like the NBA stuff going on with the fraud, and now there's something going on with Major League Baseball players that are also involved in some game rigging. She's covering a lot of that stuff as well. She does a show like 3 days a week, 4 days a week. It's pretty often where she covers a hodgepodge of those updates, but she almost I feel like every 2 hours she's got an update on some case in the crossroads between pop culture and law nerd criteria stuff. So if you guys use X, definitely follow Lauren Conlin. She gets information directly from she'll ask LAPD what's going on with the David case. So she's been great for that case. This is Lauren, by the way. I think her YouTube channel is like Pop Law. Pop Crime? Pop Crime with Lauren Conlin. I think it's Pop Crime. So again, check out. Usually she's streaming the same time I'd be watching a live trial, so I miss a lot of her YouTube stuff and just follow her on X. But she does have a YouTube channel as well. I did not see that Shell Cal got poked in jail. I don't approve of violence in jail. I don't approve of especially it's not even Fulton, you guys, anymore. It's not even just Rice Street. My news ticker algorithm, and I'm not mad about it because I like to be informed, but it must be curating stories from Harris County, Texas, I feel like comes up a lot, but different areas around the country where there's just people that are incarcerated. And a lot of the times it's pretrial detention, right? So people that they haven't had their day in court, they're not convicted of anything, they're just being held until they get to have their trial. And they die because XYZ happens, and then the facility leaves them untreated for 24 hours or more. So I hate hearing about that stuff in general, because it's one thing to have some type of injury or like medical emergency. It's another to be in a place where you are out of control of helping yourself and getting yourself the help that you need when an emergency happens. And then the people that are responsible for you don't deliver on it either. So, never love to hear that. Um, Kadisha Lynn. Okay, so Ghost, this one's new. So Kadisha Lynn, but I love Ghost, you guys. So I'm just gonna, you know, endorse through Ghost. Says Kadisha Lynn is also really good on YouTube. So if you have a quick bit, Ghost, on what cases they've been covering, that'd be good. Yeah, Tatum, the game rigging stuff. So there's like two MLB pitchers. Maybe we could just see it on her timeline real quick. I think she talked about it yesterday. Let's see. Doo, doo, doo. Now that's NBA. Cleveland Guardians pitcher Luis Leandro Ortiz Rivera will appear today in federal court. Uh, okay, MLB alleged rigged pitching scandal. So, Clace allegedly entered into a side agreement in 2023 with a Dominican gambler referred to as Carlos or CM. By early 2024, investigators say Clace had brought teammate Luis Ortiz into the fold, introducing him to CM, aka Carlos, and promising him quick money through what he described as a safe way to control prop bets. The indictment says Ortiz was skeptical at first, but was eventually persuaded after witnessing a successful payout following a May 2024 Guardians game. So if you guys missed this, there's like drama in the MLB space as well. So it's just, it's all coming down. It's all coming down. And we'll see what pans out. We'll see what pans out. Maybe this isn't what, you know, it's alleged right now, but it just seems like a lot. What do we got? Okay, so back to, and let me get it right. Kadisha Lynn is covering things like the David case, Diddy updates. Even though the Diddy case is over, there's an appeal ongoing. So thank you for the recommendation there, Ghost. Tatum says Strategic Eyes, also covering David, and is also an NYPD detective. Yeah, so I've been following some of the stuff with the David news. I just have an aversion when a case attracts, like, because David's a musician, and it seems like there's like the pop bass side of X, and there's a bit of Stan War communities, like communities that, the profiles are all dedicated to a certain celebrity or artist. It's really hard. It gets flooded with all of these commentary and opinions, and it doesn't seem the most information based. And just quite frankly, it overwhelms me. I just instinctively start to tune out things about certain cases. So I do try to like stick to, if Lauren Conlon posts an update from LAPD or whatever other source, that's kind of what I'm consuming. But really, any case where there's like Stan commentary that gets into play, it's just like I can't look at it. So, oh my goodness, just crazy. Um, and it sucks. So if this ends up, I guess there's still questions about like the relationship and the age, but can you imagine, like, what if somebody frames you and the world thinks that you did it, right? Like, what if there's no fully getting back your reputation? And it seems like, based on the reporting, LAPD isn't. You would think police departments would be like ready. High profile artists, yeah, let's throw an indictment their way. Let's arrest him. Let's get with the DA's office. Let's let them do their thing. So it's a bit surprising that they don't think they have enough in their files for probable cause for an arrest. Um, and I think that speaks some volume, maybe not a big volume, huge volume. I don't know. So I'm waiting to see what happens with that. Um, Slim and Bone says some sort of wild Squid Game. Let's see. Yeah, the case is weird. I think that's the way to put it. It's a roller coaster every time I see an update about it. Oh, that's actually a good point. You know what? Hal says, I think they're worried about a speedy demand because he's already lawyered up, and that's is it Blair Burke? Is that where I saw Blair Burke was pulled on as counsel? And I like Blair Burke. I think she more recently has a name because she represented Monica Simontilli. But I remember her from, you guys remember the Amber Heard depositions. During those depositions, which were during the Depp v. Heard like divorce cases, like so earlier, not the defamation trial, Blair Burke was the attorney for Johnny Depp. That, that soft voice that was questioning Amber Heard in that interview, that deposition video where she's like going like this with her face after she slips up about TMZ. That was Blair Burke doing those questions. So I believe I heard that that is the attorney representing him. So I mean, I would imagine I think Hal's onto something. That attorney, she has skin in the game. I would expect, hey, if we file, we've got to be ready because we're going to predict that Blair Burke will say speedy trial motion. And I don't know if that would be his counsel for criminal representation. Who knows? But yeah. A shout out to Detective Ramos. Flashback here in the Alicia Andrews case. So Slim and Bone says the detective in the Alicia Andrews case, Ramos, admitted on the stand he didn't have probable cause to even search her home or belongings. I'm sure California can pull some sort of probable cause out of it. So yeah, guys, I think that's my. Oh yeah, is this? I'm gonna assume this is Tay-Biz. Yeah, okay, it's in the URL. Mickey Steins updates you guys, and there's been a little motion I saw in that. Um, more, more people, and I'm not surprised, but there's more stories coming out. Judge Mullins seems to have been up to shady stuff. More people are coming out and saying so. And Tay Biz is my go-to for coverage on all things Mickey Stein. So thank you, Trikisha. Also, Take It to Trial. Thanks for becoming a member. I was like, wait, Take It to Trial says I look good in green. We agree. We love green around here. Thank you for becoming a member. J Money also making 5 other people green. So big thank you to J Money. J Money, thank you for all your support holding it down. J Money said, hold on, Take It to Trial says, I look good in green. Let's do that same feeling for 5 more. So big thank you. And guys, if you have any other interesting things, I don't mind popping on in evenings like this. Kind of nice way to round out the workday. Um, but yeah, it's not always going to be planned. It'll be like, I think this story with Relli, I saw like 5 minutes before I scheduled this live. So that's kind of how these come to fruition. But if you guys don't mind, I love jumping on like this. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys don't mind that we get off topic as long as we cover what we need to cover. Uh, Besides that, it's
Boom, 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 whatever.
and yeah. All right, we just got a lot of love here in the chat for J Money. So thanks again. I think that rounds out with some content. And again, guys, if you're looking for something to watch right now, I'm going to recommend that interview with Alicia Andrews' attorneys over on Taylor Umbridge's channel. That's linked in the description. And I closed it. Let me get it one more time. But very insightful. I would love to hear from a juror. Calling an interview with AA attorneys. So there's that in the chat. It's also in the description. So there you go, you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the chat somewhere watching some trial or court roulette tomorrow morning. Yeah. Steph says, if you said let's talk about nothing, I'd still be here. Thank you, Steph. It's been good to have you back around hanging out. You were missed while you were on your hardworking woman hiatus. Thank you, Leonard Amber, for the kind words here. And we're going to round it out. Hey, Toom, y'all heard about the girl that sued her husband's mistress and won. Is this Is this relating to that website that's called, like, The Other Woman? Or is it something different? 'Cause there's this whole legal saga going on with some website that's, like, people go on anonymously, and it's like a forum where they can share their experiences and also get coached, like, there's a woman that runs coaching services on how to be the other woman on this site. I think it's called The Other Woman. Okay, you guys are saying Brené. Okay. I don't know if I know that one. What? Do we need to do a special edition of what in the Oh, man, and she won 1.75 million? Ah, you know what, though? I have to say, I am not trying to trivialize 1.7 million. Just objectively, I think that's a lot of money. But sometimes I hear of the verdicts, like the monetary judgments that juries are awarding to people in different cases. And I don't know, sometimes I'm like, is it just because it's someone else's money? They just put on like 10 million. So 1.75 is a huge sum of money in my books. I think it's objectively a huge sum of money. But almost that kind of seems fractional to some of the other. I've watched a lot of civil trials over on Dolly Talk, and there's verdicts that are just like huge, huge figures because neighbors are beefing with each other. And so, in a small way, again, not to trivialize $1 million, almost 2 million, but that almost seems small in relation to some of the other amounts that I'm seeing go out there. Renee versus Akira. Oh my God, you guys. Where can I watch this? Oh, third highest in state. So that's a big amount in this state. Is there a cap wherever this happened? North Carolina? All right, guys, we'll do a quick read through overview of this. Let me pull it up. Um, so North Carolina TikTok star ordered to pay wife 1.75 million in alienation of affection lawsuit. Third highest in state. So, okay, take back my whole spiel about the judgment amounts. But Monday, a Durham County jury awarded a woman the third highest award in North Carolina history. Oh, for this specific type of action, for an alienation of affection case. So there's been two that were higher amounts than this. But what that tells me is this is a avenue that is playing out successfully for plaintiffs, at least in North Carolina. So the background here, so civil lawsuit was filed in 2024 by Akira, maybe it's Akira, Montag against viral TikTok star Brene Kennard for having an affair with Montag's husband. 14-page complaint, Montag accused Kennard, of verbally flirting and having a sexual affair with Tim Montag. Montague? I'm going to say the name different every time I read it. Under the state's alienation of affection lawsuit. How many states have this? Because that's interesting. Imagine, like, playfully, just, like, getting girly and whining to your partner, "You're alienating me from affection," and just like, "I want a quick hug." But in the legal sense, this is interesting. I wonder how many states have this. The plaintiff must prove they are in a loving marriage. The third party must have knowledge of the marriage, and the marriage must have continued while the affair was going on. So it seems like there can't just be we're separated even though we're not officially divorced. This has to be, it's clear you're playing me because I'm under the impression we're flowers, roses, everything's good. Oh, I see Slim's in the chat based on Steph. Hey, Slim. Hey, there we go. Hey, Slim. And Hal says it's an old doctrine. Yeah, I would guess, but I mean, shout out to, like, hey, if it's an available avenue and you have just cause for pursuing it, let's see. Miss Kennard flaunted her relationship with a married man. Quote, when you're thinking about alienation of affection, you have to think about the humiliation that the spouse went through, said Akira Montag's attorney, Robinetta Jones. Miss Kennard flaunted her relationship with a married man. And of course, it went viral, and my client was humiliated as a result of that. Oh, listen, this right here, I obviously didn't watch this. I didn't follow it. Unless you guys tuned in 2 seconds ago, you know that. But imagine being on the jury and being shown like social media posts of the mistress flaunting and bragging about the relationship she had with the plaintiff's spouse. I would imagine that's a very, very big pull on sympathy for the plaintiff. Kennard has more than 3 million social media followers on TikTok. Oh. Oh. Throughout the 6-day trial, Montag's attorney said she presented more than 700 pages of evidence. It's a lot, said Jones. When you're finally able to tell your truth, she felt a sense of relief. Additionally, Kennard was married to Tim Montag Montague, first cousin. I feel like I've seen this name pronounced both ways, you guys, so I'm never going to be able to guess how any one person pronounces it themselves. The civil complaint further alleged that the four spent time together and that Kennard posted photos and videos to social media showing their relationship between both couples. Oh, dang. That's messy. We were able to prove that they had a loving relationship. They were able to take trips together, spend time together, and still make sure they held themselves out to be husband and wife, said Jones of Montague's marriage. Also, text messages helped a lot as well. Oh man, you take it to trial, that laundry's gonna air out. Kennard filed a motion to dismiss the case on the grounds that photos and videos presented by Akira Montague were obtained unlawfully. A judge denied that motion. Did she just go through the husband's phone? Montague also claimed Kennard had videos alluding to how she cannot wait to become Mrs. Montague. Oh, Jones said her client represents and speaks for other women in similar situations. She has a voice for women that have been hurt by friends and their loved ones. So a lot of people say that they can recognize themselves in my client, Jones added. Consequences for interfering with another person's marriage. I think this was to be a header. That's why it reads weird. So this is probably a header for this section. Kennard denied all the allegations against her in court, and she didn't provide a comment when reached by ABC 11 for the story. And then the jury here, okay, so the breakdown was 1.5 million for alienation of affection and 250,000 for criminal conversation. Happily Angry Lawyer says it's a love story, so I think Montague is correct. Keeps the Romeo Montague scheme in place. That's right. I think that's a great. We're gonna settle with that. Um, so that's interesting. Is that criminal conversation? I mean, I'm assuming that relates to like text messages. And then we have a quote that says, I believe the message is that there are consequences for interfering with another person's marriage, said Attorney Jones. People have to know that if you interfere and you sleep with someone who's married, there are consequences in the state of North Carolina, and maybe they will think twice before they do it. Yeah, and you know, it's hard to say, right? Because there could still be other evidence in play, and there's obviously two other plaintiffs that have won this, they've won their cases and were awarded more. But having all of this stuff blasted, bragging about it on TikTok surely couldn't have helped. So, like, what happened to just being a sneaky link? Like, the jury might not have thought it was that clear cut that the defendant knew what she was doing and chose to do it anyway. If she wasn't blaring about and flaunting about, and yeah, this is, I mean, I can picture it, Tatum. So I have no familiarity with this case. Um, but I watch a channel called Dadvocate. Um, and some of the stories that she covers are like viral TikTok story, but it's somebody, claiming that they were having this type of affair or like a situationship with somebody. And the content is all coming from viral TikToks. So this person that's on TikTok, that's the subject of whatever video, they're separately on TikTok bragging about ordeals like this. And to me, I can't conceptualize wanting to go and brag about something like that. I just can't. I just can't make sense of it. Vague and ambiguous says the Love Boat. Oh, well, and Brene was pro se. Well, that's interesting. I feel like that was probably a choice. I'm not saying that just because someone makes money, having that many followers on TikTok, I would imagine she made decent money on TikTok. Hindsight's 2020, right? But maybe you should have had an attorney. Maybe this is worth the investment rather than just going pro se. Or maybe it's the complacency. You see people cheat all the time. You see people brag about it on social media all the time, and you don't really hear people suing for it because I think the litigation relating to it outside of filing for divorce, we don't really see litigation with this cause of action against mistresses. Especially don't hear successes. So maybe she just thought it was a ridiculous lawsuit and didn't need to get an attorney. But this in hindsight, I would imagine she wishes she had one. Dang. Like, oh my gosh, you guys. Well, this was a saga. This was a saga. Guys, if you don't want to be monogamous, it's okay. Society accepts that now as long as you're honest and transparent about it. That's it. I think that's all society wants. Why put yourself in this position? But okay, this was a great side story, you guys. I enjoyed it. Um, we're gonna wrap this up though. I've got to go make myself something to eat. It's 9 o'clock now. Got to get dinner going. Got to cook something up. And if I don't end now, we will end up going down another rabbit hole of something else. So, guys, hope to see you. Whatever story happens another time, hope we all get together again soon. If not, see you out here in these YouTube streets, maybe over at Take It to Trials channel, maybe over Amy E. if you're still in here. Um, Tay Biz hasn't popped in today, but I've got to go get bugging Tay Biz to do some live streams. I'm missing Tay Biz. Flesh of the Gods, guys, is covering Devin Michaels. So the case where it's going to take me 10 minutes to explain, but Devin Michaels, porn star or like sex worker or something, guy is unalive, but she's married to his son. The marriage is supposed to be for convenience. Son seems a little bit sketchy when he took the stand, but Michaels herself also seems really sketchy. So I'm kind of like, were they in it together? Did he really just have nothing to do with it? And he's awkward because he was married to this woman and she's accused and maybe actually did kill his dad. Like, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. But Flesh of the Gods has been covering that. Court was closed today, no court because of Veterans Day. So that trial will be picking back up tomorrow. I'll be watching over with Flesh of the Gods. Trakisha will be there. It's there's 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 no other way to break down what's going on in that case. But come check it out. It is a time. It is a time. Yes, Take It to Trial says she was also married to Robert Baker. So we mentioned Monica Simontelli earlier. You might remember the name Robert Baker from the Simontelli trial. Devin Michaels was also married to Robert Baker at one point. Like, what goes on? so, so just the whole time. But you guys all have a good one. I'll be around somewhere and hope to see you guys tomorrow or the next time. Hope everyone is doing well. And thanks for hanging out.